Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So yeah, today we are going to discuss about colon, what are the parts of the colon and also relations about it. We will discuss about the arterial supply and venous drainage, lymphatic drainage in another video. So coming to colon, so the colon is divided into four parts. Basically the colon is divided into four parts. We have the ascending colon, we have the transverse colon, then we have the descending colon, and finally we have the sigmoid colon. So colon arises from the cecum. This is the cecum, right, where the ileum will join ileocecal junction. From there on you have the ascending colon, and this is the transverse colon. Here you have the descending colon, and then it continues as the sigmoid colon, finally ending in the rectum into the anal canal. So yeah, this is the ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, this is the sigmoid colon, and this is the rectum, and finally we have the anal canal. These are the parts of the colon. So coming to firstly to the ascending colon. So the ascending colon is an upward continuation of the cecum. So it is about 12.5 centimeter in length. Coming to the ascending, it is 12.5 centimeters in length, and it is an upward continuation of the cecum, which extends from the cecum at the level of the ileocecal orifice to the inferior surface of the right lobe of the liver. Here you have the liver, right? So inferior surface of the right lobe of the liver, it arises from the cecum to the inferior surface of the liver. So that it is also called as the right colic flexure or hepatic flexure. We have the hepatic flexure or the right colic flexure, where it will end. So it lies in the right paracolic quadrant, and it is covered by the peritoneum on the front and the sides, which binds it to the posterior abdominal wall. So coming to its posterior surface lies on three muscles. What are the three muscles where it lies? It is the iliacus, quadratus lumborum, and also the transverse abdominis. So on the posterior surface of the ascending colon, we have the iliacus, we have the transverse abdominis muscle, and also the quadratus lumborum. These are the three muscles that are lying posterior to the ascending colon. Then during its course from the cecum to the undersurface of the liver, it crosses three nerves. What are the three nerves? One is the lateral cutaneous nerve of the thigh, we have the ilioinguinal nerve, and also the iliohypogastric nerve. So it also crosses three nerves. Which are the three nerves? One is the from the L1 segments, we have the ilioinguinal nerve also, and then we have the iliohypogastric nerve. Both will arise from the L1, and finally we have the lateral cutaneous nerve of the thigh. So these are the three nerves. During its course it will cross, and also anteriorly it is related to the small coils of the bowel, and also the right edge of the great omentum. So these are the relations of the ascending colon, its parts, and also the muscles and nerves supplied by it. So now let's discuss about the transverse colon. So coming to the transverse colon, so what do we know about the transverse colon? It is the longest part of the colon. So it is one of the longest part of the colon, where it extends from the right hepatic flexure to the left splenic flexure. It extends from the right, we have the hepatic flexure, right, or also the right colic flexure, up to the left splenic flexure or the left colic flexure. So left colic flexure is called as the splenic flexure, and the right colic flexure is called as the hepatic flexure. So this transverse colon will extend from the right hepatic flexure to the left splenic flexure. So what about its length? It is up to 20 inches in length, or approximately 50 centimeters in length. So it extends from the right colic flexure to the left splenic flexure. So strictly speaking, the transverse colon is not transverse but forms a dependent loop. It is not transverse, it forms a dependent loop type in front of the lobes of the small intestine between the right and the left colic flexures. So the lowest point of the loop usually extends up to the level of the umbilicus, but sometimes it may also extend down into the pelvis also. So generally it is U-shaped. So this is about the transverse colon. So coming to its relations, what are the relations of the transverse colon? So anteriorly we have the greater omentum and the anterior abdominal wall, right? Anteriorly we have the greater omentum and the anterior abdominal wall, and posteriorly it is related to the second part of the duodenum, the head of the pancreas, and also the coils of jejunum and ileum. So posteriorly we have the jejunum, ileum, we also have the duodenum and as well as pancreas. So these are the 4 structures that are related to the posterior surface of the transverse colon. So also a discussion about the transverse mesocolon. So the transverse mesocolon is suspended from the posterior abdominal wall by a large double layered fold of the peritoneum, which is known as the transverse mesocolon. I have discussed about complete anatomy of the mesentery in another video. Make sure to watch that. So now let's discuss about the descending colon. Descending colon. So what do you know about the descending colon? So the descending colon is longer, which is about 25 centimeters in length, and it is also narrower and more deeply located than the ascending colon. So it is also narrow and it is more deep compared to the ascending colon. So it extends from the left colic flexure to the front of the external iliac artery. It extends from the left colic flexure up to the left external iliac artery till here it extends, which is at the level of the pelvic brim. So it is also covered by the peritoneum on the front and the side. So what are the relations of the descending colon? So its proximal part will descend down vertically from the left colic flexure to the left iliac fossa, and during this course it passes in front of 3 muscles and 3 nerves, and the muscles are same as the ascending colon, which are the quadratus lumborum, transverse abdominis and iliacus. And what are the nerves I have just discussed? Iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal, and also the lateral cutaneous nerve of the thigh. So these are the relations of the descending colon. So lastly, discussing about the sigmoid colon. So what do you know about the sigmoid colon? Sigmoid colon is comparatively shorter, which is about 15 inches in length, or it is also 37.5 centimeters shorter than the transverse colon, and it connects the descending colon with the rectum. So we have the rectum and here we have the descending colon. So this connects the descending colon to the rectum. So it is generally S shaped, that's why they are naming it as the sigmoid colon. So it extends from the lower end of the descending colon at the level of the left pelvic inlet to the pelvic surface of the third piece of the sacrum, where it becomes continuous with the rectum. So the loop of the sigmoid colon will consist of 3 parts. Again, sigmoid colon is divided into 3 parts. The first part will run downward in contact with the left pelvic wall, and the second part will transverse through the pelvic cavity between the bladder and the rectum, and finally the third part will run backward to reach the midline. So they are the 3 parts which will generate. This is the first part, this is the second part, and this is the third part. These are the general 3 parts of the sigmoid colon. So again, we have one more relation. This one is the sigmoid mesocolon, and we have discussed it into another video. Please make sure to watch that. So in the upcoming video, we will discuss about the arterial supply, venous drainage and lymphatic drainage of the colon. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching video till the end. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button, and also share it to your other friends. Thank you so much.